Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking, we are making jalapeno cheese beer bread. It is a quick and easy homemade bread. You don't need to wait for it to rise from yeasting, and you can add anything you want, but I'm gonna add jalapenos and cheese. And bonus, you get to use beer. So if you're craving beer for some reason, but you can't really drink beer, then you can get the flavor of beer while you're getting plenty of calories and dairy. Dry ingredients, I've got some whole wheat flour and some white flour. You can use all white flour if you prefer. And I'm gonna add some brown sugar. So when you pack the brown sugar measuring cup, you wanna really pack it in there so that when you dump it out, it should actually stay in the shape of the measuring cup. Then you wanna make sure that you don't have any lumps because it can get a little lumpy. So just kind of break it up with your hands. And I adapted this recipe from one on my friend Catherine's website. If you want to see the original, I'll put that on my website too. And you can always get printable recipes at my website at hilahcooking.com. So if you want to make this and you need the measurements, then it's all right there. And we'll add some salt and some baking powder. You want to make sure you're not using baking soda. Not the same thing. Baking soda is just sodium bicarbonate, and baking powder has an acid already mixed into it. So it's usually called like double acting baking powder, and it rises once when you add liquid, and then it rises again in the heat of the oven. And if you tried to swap out baking soda for that, it would kind of give it a really metallic and unpleasant kind of taste. So there's some cooking chemistry for you. Just if you see any lumps, just get rid of them. I'm gonna add some cheese. So I'm using some sharp cheddar. I know summertime people don't really think about baking as a thing to do, but this is so quick to make and it uses beer. So like if you had a barbecue and people bring beer over and you have some leftover beer that you're not maybe a big fan of that beer, you can use that. You can really use any kind of beer that you like. You can use like cheap ass crappy beer, you can use fancy beer, but beer is what gives the bread sort of a yeasty flavor. So it hits all those bread buttons in your guts. So then we're just gonna start adding the beer in. I'm not sure if all the alcohol cooks out, but I would wager that most of it does. So I wouldn't worry about it for serving to kids unless you're real concerned. Then you could also probably use some non-alcoholic beer, and that would be just fine. And then finally I'm gonna add some pickled jalapenos. These are just sliced nacho slices, and I just diced them up. Drained most of the liquid off, and you can see it's really thick. Don't be afeared. It's okay. If you're really having trouble getting it together, you can add like a tablespoon or two of water. Sometimes I'll have to do that if it's a really dry day and the flour is extra dry. But this looks perfect today, so thank you for not embarrassing me. Set that aside, and then I've just got a loaf pan, some spray, and then we'll plop it into our pan. Boop. And you'll have to sort of manually spread it out since it's so thick. And then the crowning touch, we're gonna pour a bunch of melted butter all over the top. There, and make sure that you get the corners so there's not lovely butter everywhere. It's gonna like make just a nice crusty salty top. And this is one time in baking that I would actually suggest to use salted butter as opposed to unsalted butter, just to make a really delicious crust. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the oven, 350 for about 50 minutes or so, 40, maybe check it at 45 to 55, and I'll see you when it's ready to eat. So about 50 minutes later, bread is done. You'll know it's done when you stick a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean, not covered in bread dough. So it's done. It's really fairly loose in the pan, but just to be sure, I'm gonna just run around the edges gently with a knife and then carefully tilt it out. Look how gorgeous. I love how craggly it looks. So, and then we'll set it on a rack to cool for at least 15 more minutes. I mean, if you want to serve it warm, it's really, really nice, of course. But you don't want to cut into it right away because it will kind of it'll crush it a little bit. But anyway, isn't it pretty? Okay, just give me a few minutes and then I'll eat it and tell you what it tastes like. Hint, it's delicious. Time to eat. So it's been cooling for about 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know, I lose track of time. We'll cut into it. This would be so good with a bowl of chili too in the fall or even in the summer. Look. I don't know if you can hear that crunchy little crust. That's what butter does. So there we go. Look at that. It's tender, it's delicious. It's really best if you can serve it the day of, but it also works great for the next couple days. And if it gets a little stale, just put it in the toaster and slather some butter on it. Problem solved. I love bread. Bread loves me. Man, it's totally healthy too because there's whole wheat flour in it. Way to go, Hilah. Okay. Remember, printable recipes are always available at hilahtcooking.com. You can visit me on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. Please remember to subscribe, and if you like this video, then share it with some friends who might also like it, and then you guys can watch it together and it will be like a bonding experience, like a bondage experience. Okay, have a great day. Bye.